Big thanks go out to Taiwa for supporting today's video via Patreon. Urza Chief Artificer versus Starcream, Saheeli and Queza. That we can go for an Esper Sentinel on turn 1, maybe get some ramp with the Demonic Tutor, so you'll see what we draw into. I think that's fine to keep. Draw into a swamp on turn 1, get down the command tower here and throw out the Esper Sentinel. Okay, drawing into the Master of Ethereum now, so I'm wondering if to go for the Sol Ring with the Demonic Tutor. Then we'll have 4 mana next turn, which is still just playing and equipping the Cranial Plating. I'm thinking of playing and equipping this over the next turn or two because it will make us more able to draw with Esper Sentinel, so yeah, let's just get that down. I don't think we need to see about going for ramp with the Demonic Tutor if we're going to consistently draw cards. I think we're safe to throw out the Cranial Plating whilst we're not equipping it, because if anyone's got any artifact removal, then they'll probably throw it on the Esper Sentinel. Queza throwing out a Clockwork Drawbridge. The Reality Chip for Saheeli. Noteworthy that there's an Inventor's Fair in play now as well. Okay, Thopter Foundry. That is part of a combo to make a bunch of Thopter tokens and gain life and all the rest of it. Sure you all know the combo already, so let's play the Ancient Den, and I think we have to go for the Demonic Tutor this turn, try and make use of our mana. So let's equip up the Esper Sentinel. We do have 3 artifacts in play now thanks to the Ancient Den. So that means to keep us from drawing an additional card now, the Esper Sentinel is going to have our opponents pay 4 mana on their first non-creature spell. Yeah, let's go for the Demonic Tutor. Maybe just going for the Smothering Tithe is okay. We just keep our fingers crossed that no one's got a load of spot removal in hand. We can play that next turn, and it's good with the Anointed Procession. Anointed Procession is obviously good with our commander as well as the combo with Thopter Foundry, so yeah, I think Smothering Tithe is okay to play next turn. Still not looking to make any enemies with the Esper Sentinel, so yeah, arguably should be swinging in with 4 points of damage, but I don't want anyone looking at us more than they already are. Unfortunately, Queza now holding up double blue mana, so that might just be for the Clockwork Drawbridge, but yeah, I'm hoping that they're not going to counter the Smothering Tithe, especially after seeing the Demonic Tutor. A Mere Retriever from Saheeli, so I dare say this is more combo based as well. Noteworthy they did tap out the blue mana for it though, so I'm assuming they don't have any counter magic in hand. First commander of the game, Starcream, Seeker Leader coming into play. That triggers the Esper Sentinel, so we do draw a card here. That is Master Thopterist. Not swinging in with that, even though it does come in with Haste and Menace. Alright, a Felwar Stone for us, which we cannot play along with the Smothering Tithe. Yeah, I think we just have to try the Smothering Tithe here. If it gets countered, then so be it. Noteworthy that they are holding up priority here, but I wouldn't have thought that Queza would want to see a Smothering Tithe on our side of the field, because I dare say there's wheels in this deck. And that will obviously make us a lot of treasure tokens. Alright, they pass through priority, so looks like this is being allowed. Everyone's still playing pretty passively, so I'm not going to set the ball rolling on First Blood. We will pass straight through combat. Noteworthy that the Felwar Stone is going to tap for Esper mana thanks to our opponents here. And we're going to get our first Smothering Tithe token by the looks of it. And for every treasure token, obviously that buffs the Esper Sentinel, so we do stand to draw some cards through this next turn cycle, hopefully. Reality Chip being equipped to the Mere Retriever now, so I think it's any spell they can cast. Yeah, they can play lands and cast spells from the top of the library now that that is equipped. The Reality Chip will survive creature board wipes as well now. Swinging in towards Queza with the Starcream, so gonna make Queza the Monarch here. Which could mean that we become the Monarch next turn, because Esper Sentinel can swing in that direction, now that Starcream has made First Blood. Phyrexian Arena going to draw additional cards for the mono black player as well. And speaking of which, triggers the Esper Sentinel to draw us. Draw into another land for us, so obviously have a land to make for next turn now, that's good. Don't want to be missing land drops in an Esper deck. And into Urza, Lord High Artificer, which is obviously really good with the treasure tokens, so let's see here, we definitely get down the plains. And then I think it can be Urza, Master Thopterist and the Felwar Stone. Maybe Anointed Procession's a better idea. Well, we're getting down Urza. Urza can obviously tap down our treasures for blue mana without sacrificing those, so that's really good. So the construct token is a 7/7 that the Urza comes in with. Yeah, I think Anointed Procession might be better actually. Let's swing in and see what happens. We'll take the Monarchy away from the Queza player. Again, noteworthy, they could have tapped down the Esper Sentinel here, which would have been a good idea with their control of the Monarch, but yep, they didn't do it, so allowing us to swing in towards them for 8. We'll see if they've got any interaction for us. Just taking the damage, they go down to 30. We take the Monarchy away from our opponent, and then here we can go for the Anointed Procession to make even more treasure tokens. And then there's nothing that we can block. I mean, the Flyer can take the Monarchy away from us next turn, so yeah, these two creatures aren't really a threat to the Monarchy, so we can tap down the Construct and the Treasure and get down the Felwar Stone here as well. We're not playing out an artifact into the Psymaster Thopterus, but I think I'd rather just have the extra mana next turn, and we'll pray that no one wipes the board of artifacts. Drawing a card at the end step thanks to the Monarch, and that's again our land for next turn. It's noteworthy that if we are worried about artifact destruction, like a Vandal Blast or something, which we could see next turn from Saheeli, having the Psymaster Thopterus along with Urza and a bunch of treasures in play is good, because you can tap down each treasure for blue mana without sacrificing it, and then sacrifice those tapped treasures to draw a card. So won't protect your board obviously, but you can at least fill your hand up with the Psy if Urza's in play. Runic Shot, destroy a target tapped creature, and if the spell was kicked you scry 2, so that sees the end of our Esper Sentinel, currently an 11/1. So we'll draw one more card from that at least for 1 mana. It's done a lot of work for us. Drawing 2 Solemn Simulacrum, Daretti Scrap Savant for Saheeli, so not seeing a Vandal Blast thankfully. No artifacts in the bin, so likely goes for a Rummage, discard 2 cards and draw that many. Discarding there a Platinum Empyrean and a Kozilek, so their graveyard gets shuffled around there. They obviously drew 2 cards there, so we get 2 treasures now for each card they drew, so that's 4 additional treasures. Seeing the construct now as a 15/15, so I think it's going to be safe to say that we can get down the Urza Chief Artificer next turn and start making even more of these constructs. Even more treasures for us with the Phyrexian Arena in play, and it might be that they take the Monarchy away from us this turn, so once again that might be even more card draw for them, which means more treasures for us. I think our artifacts are pretty safe against a mono black player as well. Starcream does swing in towards us, so they're gonna have to have some removal as backup, because they're facing down a 19/19 here, and that's without the cranial plating equipped. So successfully hitting us, taking the Monarchy away, and now transforming the Starscream into the Power Hungry. Then it is a Sol Ring, our opponent goes down to 7 cards in hand. Then it is Wretched Confluence, not sure what they've gone after there. Oh, it is the Urza. So -2/-2 twice on that, and then looks like they've drawn a card because the Smothering Tithe is triggering, pointing the Starscream at us, so we'll lose 2 life. I mean, we might be able to just one-shot them here, so they need to be careful. Unfortunately, losing the Urza, of course, means that we can't just totally abuse our next turn. I mean, we've got enough treasures to just use anyway, but wouldn't be anywhere near as bonkers as it would have been if Urza had stayed in play. And of course, now's when we draw into the Lightning Greaves. That could have been on the Urza, unfortunately. A turn too late on that, so drop down the Glacial Fortress. And yeah, I mean, do we just one-shot the black player out of the game here? A full grip, and obviously has means of removal for us. Could get down the Lightning Greaves with Master of Ethereum as well, and swing in probably at the Daretti. Or we could make a Thopter, I suppose, and yeah, anyway, let's go for Psymaster Thopterus first of all. Then after that it is the Lightning Greaves, which will make a Thopter token, of course. Actually makes 2 Thopter tokens thanks to the Anointed Procession. So I think we control 26 artifacts now, which means this is obviously plus 26 to power. So it's just overkill on one player really. We could go haste and a buff on a Thopter, but that's really next turn's play, I think. So let's just put Lightning Greaves on the Psy for now. Really, I want to deal with this Daretti, but we're just playing into a board wipe if we throw this out. even though it does have haste, it could get rid of the Planeswalker, but I think it's best to just not play into the board wipe. Let's drop Cranial Plating onto the Construct, and then we're just looking to get our commander down after this. So now we'll throw the Lightning Greaves onto the Construct. That is a 52-26 thanks to all the treasures, and we'll hope that there's no Pongify or anything over here. Alright, that is allowed to land, so getting rid of the mono black player on turn 6. I don't think we'll keep the Monarchy because we knocked them out. I don't think we end up taking the Monarchy because the trigger will leave the stack. I think that's how it works. So, simply because they went after us, we go after them now, knocking out the mono black player. And down they go to -14, so now we just drop our commander and pass the turn, I think. Our commander only costing Esper mana, so we'll have to sacrifice 3 treasures in order to do this. Our commander costing Esper only, so we just sacrifice a couple of treasures to get that out. Then I think it's fine to put the Cranial Plating onto the Urza. We won't be able to do it at instant speed thanks to the Shroud we're about to put on there, so we'll lose another treasure and put the Cranial Plating over there. Then protect it with the Greaves, of course. So our commander stands to deal 27 commander damage to someone at the moment. But unfortunately we have no means of protection whatsoever. Oh, apparently we did take the Monarchy, alright, so drawing another card. We will make a couple of those colourless construct tokens. So a couple of Menace 25/25s is not bad for free. Okay, Aware of Invention. I don't think I put the Dark Steel Citadel in here. Is that the one that gives everything indestructible? Don't think that's in here. Unfortunately, Queza still stuck on colours and only able to make a 4th land by turn 6. So not doing much of anything really over there. It's noteworthy that with the Aware of Invention we could go for a Blightsteel Colossus and really give our opponents a headache, but I don't think that steamrolling ahead of them even more than we already are doing is going to be much fun. And then the Quasar just deciding to scoop. Hopefully that means that the Esper player won't scoop on us. I'm assuming Quasar was just stuck on colours and couldn't do anything. The Duretti has ticked up here. And getting rid of a Duplicant and a Still Hellkite, so they've got long-term answers, but couldn't get them out quickly enough. They could fly over us with the Still Hellkite. Obviously getting rid of the treasures would be easy at that point. Cracking a Scalding Tarn here as well. And there we see a Scrap Mastery. Each player exiles all the artifacts from their graveyard, then sacrifices all the artifacts they control. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, is there anything we can do about that? I don't think there is at the moment. I think just floating the mana for the Aware of Invention can set us up for somewhat of a combo with the Thopter Foundry. I think that's the best thing for us to do here. We can obviously sacrifice some things with the Sai as well. So how much is, just looking over at the deck list now, Sword of the Meek is 2, so we put 5 mana into X on the Aware of Invention. So let's start sacrificing some stuff. Noteworthy that they're going to have a Still Hellkite and a Duplicant in play here. So with the Sai we can sacrifice some artifacts here and set ourselves up for the reanimation. Obviously the tokens won't come back, but the non-token artifacts can come back, and obviously we're drawing ourselves cards here as well. And then just floating some mana for the Aware of Invention. 2 into X can get us the Sword of the Meek, so I think that's the plan. Make sure to sacrifice the artifact land as well to bring that back in. Okay, drawn into a Phyrexian Metamorph. And there's a Tezzeret as well, so can maybe use that for the Ashnod's Altar, and then we actually do have Infinite on our opponent. Alright, some card draw in the form of a Thought Monitor as well. And seeing an Ethereum Sculptor as well. I think we can do this once more. No, we can actually do it again here because, alright, well we just drew into Sword of the Meek anyway, so maybe we can hold on to the Aware of Invention then. Let's just draw with the Sai in that case. Maybe should have got down, yeah, in hindsight, should have gone for Aware of Invention before drawing into the Sword of the Meek, because now we've got less mana next turn. But anyway, makes more of an interesting game out of it, I suppose. We can try and draw into removal here. Alright, so we've got lands, the Scrap Mastery going to resolve here. Suppose I could have floated the mana from the artifact. Esper Sentinel comes in, I dare say that's what Duplicant goes on to. Maybe it goes on to the Sai. So with the Mirror Retriever being killed off, they grab the Reality Chip back. Yeah, could have played the last part of this turn a little bit better. We could have gone for the Ashnod's Altar with the Aware of Invention. And then we are actually set up for infinite next turn, so that would have been the thing to do there. The Urza Chief Artificer having the duplicant pointed at it. So Urza goes back into the command zone. We've still got the Smothering Tithe and Anointed Procession combination here, so we still stand to make a bunch of treasure tokens, but we've still got some of our artifacts available to us at least, so definitely want to be getting out Thopters so that we can block that Steel Hellkite. Let's see what artifacts they've got. It's just the Mere Retriever in the bin, so not too worried about reanimation. Drew into an Organic Extinction, which is probably not going to be too useful against Saheeli. So throw out an island. And then we can get down our commander here, just so that we can start making those constructs again. Maybe the Master of Ethereum is alright. So let's throw out the Master of Ethereum. That will come in with a couple of Thopter tokens to make our commander cost less. Which means our commander now costs a total of 4 mana. So we can equip the Cranial Plating to the Master and swing in with it. Yeah, I think that's alright. So now it's Cranial Plating onto the Master of Ethereum. And this thing does have haste, so they'll have to double block if they want to see the back of it. Now a 16-8. Throw the haste on there with the Lightning Greaves. And we'll swing in towards the Duretti, I think. Alright, our opponent decides to scoop there. Yeah, they don't feel as though they can do anything. They're only going to lose the Duretti. Maybe they could get into Cyclonic Rift or Blasphemous Act or something. Obviously, I don't know what's in their deck. But yeah, this was an alright showing for Urza Chief Artificer. Obviously did a lot of work here, but our opponents weren't really up for sticking it out and was a pretty one-sided game in the end. But you can see what we were looking to do there. Obviously it would have taken us a little bit longer thanks to all those treasures going down. But yeah, ultimately we would have wanted to set up the Thopter Foundry combo with Sword of the Meat. So that gives you infinite life and infinite Thopters. And infinite colourless mana as well, so yeah, pretty simple combo to set up in this deck. But we were doing pretty well without it, I think. I was really looking forward to playing this commander, and it's as good as I thought it was going to be. Hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.